RetroDaze.
There's something strange and a little off-putting about daytime television that I was never able to shake, even as I got older. I think the reason I feel this way is due to the inexorable connection between daytime television and being sick. After all, that was almost the only time you would get to watch the endless soap operas, game shows, and commercials about life insurance that aired during the week from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m.
It was the kind of programming that was geared toward viewers that would actually be home that time of day, the elderly and stay-at-home parents. Everyone else was presumably at school or work. Still, every now and then, you got to glimpse that secret world of daytime television, and it was equal parts weird, boring, and glorious. It's a weekday morning, and one of your parents nudges you awake from an epic dream about that new Back to the Future movie you saw in theaters over the weekend. You feel a little nauseated, and at first you think it's due to the jarring realization that you aren't on a grand adventure into the past with Marty McFly and Doc Brown. Your eyes flutter open and you see a concerned parental face hovering over you. "Honey?" your mom asks, leaning over to kiss your forehead, lingering for a second too long. And you know this forehead kiss. It's the one she uses to take your temperature with her lips, as if a doctor had imbued them with some incredibly mundane superpower. They pull away, and the concern etched on her face turns to something sad and apologetic. "You're not feeling well today?" In response, you lean over the side of your bed and promptly vomit on the carpet. "Oh, honey," your mom says, "you're staying home from school today." She eyes the puddle of puke a moment before running off to get cleaning supplies. Somewhere underneath the terrible feeling of sickness, there's a tiny nugget of happiness because, joy of joys, you don't have to go to school. Getting sick was never fun, but getting to stay home, even with a queasy stomach, was something to be celebrated. After some bland oatmeal to settle your stomach, you start to feel a little better and are allowed to lounge on the couch in the living room. You turn on the television, hoping to get some quality cartoon time in, but instead, you're hit face first with decidedly grown-up commercials about taxes and health insurance.
A special contract was awarded to international medical centers by the federal government. Now, simply put, it provides Medicare recipients with improved benefits like free prescriptions, doctor's visits, hospitalization, free eyeglasses, and more. Now get the facts. I did. You'll feel good that you can get all your health care free, and the government is behind it.
You probably didn't know what Medicare was when you were young, but you were certainly well acquainted with the commercials that would play back to back during your precious sick days. Unlike the hilarious anti-drug PSAs that played after school, these healthcare commercials were relatively dry and information heavy. They'd invariably feature a single older person who'd speak earnestly about this very important subject. There was always concern in their voices, as if they just wanted to make sure you made the right choice. Frankly, it made me even more queasy than I already was. Only slightly better, because they were hopeful, were sweepstakes commercials.
Atlantic to Pacific, Great Lakes to Rio Grande, real people when they're riches.
I never want anything in my life.
Miracles can happen, Publishers Clearinghouse, the house where dreams come true.
That's right. Ed McMahon was never associated with Publishers Clearinghouse, even if your Mandela-affected brain has told you otherwise. Good old Ed's face was only ever plastered on the American Family Publishers envelopes. Of course, Publishers Clearinghouse was real, it just never featured Ed McMahon in the commercials.
Here's the secret, folks, of where to win the biggest sweepstakes prize of all time.
American Family, join us!
Tim Blakely and Rebecca Wright won millions of dollars. Now you can win $10 million, only from American Family. No other sweepstakes with a prize this big. I will personally award this giant cash fortune. Be sure to enter the sweepstakes with my picture.
Join us!
Millions and millions of dollars, all for you.
After these commercials, you peel yourself out from under your blankets to go check the junk mail pile and see if there were any sweepstakes mailers waiting there. You didn't put much stock in them, but you also figured it wouldn't hurt to toss the family name in the old raffle hat. But alas, there are no special mailers waiting, so you plod to the kitchen for more Lipton's chicken noodle soup before heading back to the TV.
We're with you for the new season of Wheel of Fortune. Join Pat Sajak and Vanna White for the #1 game show, #1 in glamour and in entertainment, and #1 in prizes when contestants combine luck and skill with each spin. Get your family involved and see who can solve the puzzles. It's fun and the chance of a lifetime. All new shows on the new season of Wheel of Fortune, weeknights at 7:30 on Channel 6.
Despite new episodes often airing on weeknights, a common time slot for reruns of Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, The Price is Right, Family Feud, and other game shows was on weekday afternoons. Just as you settle in with your soup, an episode of The Price is Right starts.
Get ready, the excitement's gonna get you.
Come on down! It's The Price is Right with Bob Barker. Exciting pricing games and fabulous showcases.
You did it! The Price is Right. The excitement's gonna get you.
Weekday.
A new car! Gotcha.
You aren't a huge fan of game shows, but they pass the time, and occasionally you've been known to get caught up in the excitement of big winners and big losers. It was like the Publishers Clearinghouse in real time. Jeopardy was another common sighting on the weekday afternoon schedule, but this particular day you skipped over it. They always ask really hard questions that you never know the answers to.
Coming up next on the Twilight Zone, Jack Klugman faces himself and the son he once neglected as the two relive the past in a magical house of mirrors. In praise of Pip. Next.
Surprisingly, this particular sick day also introduces you to your very first episode of the Twilight Zone. The science fiction and horror anthology series, which was created and presented by Rod Serling, ran for 5 seasons on CBS from October 2nd, 1959 to June 19th, 1964. Since then, those 5 seasons seem to have perpetually been in syndication. You'd always ignored it in the past because, come on, it's in black and white. But you let it play this time, and from word one, Rod Serling has you hooked. This strange alternate reality where anything is possible drags you in, and maybe it's your mind fever, but you feel as though you might become trapped in the swirling space between dimensions, just like Tina in the episode Little Girl Lost. Your fearful time in the Twilight Zone is short, but you make a mental note that it's a place you'd like to visit again soon, perhaps during the WPIX 4th of July Marathon.
Is the romance over?
I've had it with you. It's finished.
Or will Donna get what she deserves?
You want a real proposal?
Another world. Then, on Santa Barbara, when Eden confronts Antenna with the truth.
You've been cheating on your husband. I need to feel loved.
How far will she go to set her man free?
I'll take everything away from you, starting with Cruz.
Santa Barbara. It'll excite you this week.
After the Twilight Zone, you enter the true hell of daytime soaps. This stuff is so bad you almost roll your eyes straight through your skull. The acting, the stories, the camera work, it's all so bad you can barely stay awake as a parade of couples cheat on each other while everyone else seems to get amnesia. The Young and the Restless, Days of Our Lives, All My Children, Another World, One Life to Live. You wonder if there are any kids your age that actually like this stuff. Clearly someone likes it because the TV shows keep airing year after year, and they even have magazines about them like Soap Opera Digest and Soap Opera Weekly. But as far as you're concerned, it's some of the worst stuff you saw all day. As melodrama plays out on your television, your feverish mind tangles game shows, soaps, and healthcare commercials into a bee's nest of sick day torment until finally you allow yourself to fall into an uneasy sleep.
Barbara Eden and Larry Hagman star in the comedy hit I Dream of Jeannie.
I Dream of Jeannie, weekdays at 12:30 on TV 32.
Mercifully, the soaps don't last forever, and before long your eyes flutter open. As early afternoon wears on, you flip through the channels, pausing every now and then for part of an old sitcom rerun like Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, or All in the Family. Sometimes you get a slightly newer rerun like Who's the Boss or Mr. Belvedere, but mostly it's stuff your parents would have watched as kids. Then, for the first time since that episode of The Twilight Zone, you hit on something worthwhile. only to realize it's geared toward the olds like everything else in the afternoon.
Welcome to the KTSF Afternoon Movie Presentation. Today, the great comedian Charlie Chaplin stars as the little tramp seeking the affections of a dance hall girl in the days of the Klondike Rush for Gold. Georgia Hale also stars in The Gold Rush on the KTSF Afternoon Movie.
So you keep on flipping as your mom comes in with some cinnamon sugar toast and asks if your tummy is well enough for a treat. The smell of butter and cinnamon on the warm bread makes you salivate, and even though you still feel mildly sick, the snack is worth the risk. On the television, more of the strange daytime world plays, and you eventually decide to watch the rest of the afternoon movie because soon the more familiar after-school programming will finally begin.
We hope you've enjoyed today's afternoon movie, Marco. Tomorrow afternoon, join us for Easy Target, starring Teresa Graves. Daytime pleasure on 11.
As we've seen, daytime programming was mostly foreign to us as kids. But on those rare occasions, like summers, vacations, snow days, and the aforementioned sick days, we'd get a glimpse of that strange world of grown-up TV. Experiencing daytime programming often felt, well, kind of weird. So weird that to this day, when certain kinds of commercials come on TV, "Hi, I'm Joe Namath. If you're on Medicare, this is important information," I still experience a sweaty kind of nostalgia that resonates through my body. All my sick days blend together into a giant bowl of Campbell's chicken soup with crumbled saltine crackers on the side. I feel like I'm again a 10-year-old kid, sick at home and wrapped in a blanket with a TV remote in hand and buttered toast waiting to settle my stomach. This is a different type of nostalgia than I'm used to. It's not exactly something I attempt to recreate the way I do with nostalgia for movies, video games, music, or toys of my youth. Rather, it's a feeling that descends upon me without warning, leaving me foggy-brained as I think about those lethargic mornings that lasted far longer than they should have. There was something special about that small peek inside the daily lives of adults, seeing what your mom and dad were up to when you were supposed to be in school, seeing the different way the light came in the windows, getting bored with yet another health insurance commercial, another episode of Jeopardy, another weather report. Nothing I did could shake that otherworldly aspect of being home when I wasn't supposed to be. And now, as an adult myself, I can barely remember what it felt like to have large portions of the world closed off.
Now, as I often do, I try to project my mind back into that 10-year-old me. In this particular case, little me is wrapped in a Gremlins blanket, munching on bland crackers, watching boring daytime TV, and feeling kind of sick. Yet somehow, he also feels good, getting that brief glimpse of the adult world of daytime television, knowing the next day he'll be back in school, wishing for the weekend. And maybe that was okay. Maybe that was part of the magic. How did you spend your sick days off at home as a kid? Did you find daytime television as strange as I did, or were you a big soap opera fan? You know, I'd love to hear about it down in the comments. And if you enjoy our content, please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and maybe even activating that ubiquitous notification bell. It really does make a huge difference. Let's meet again next week to celebrate Yesteryear right here on RetroDaze.
Clicky clacky.